Oh, we're about a minute late, but what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. That's right. You're not seeing things. It's just me and Jeff tonight. Just these old two nerds. We're going to be just shooting the you-know-what tonight. There's a bunch of stuff going on in geekdom. There's already people in the chat. Keith is already here. How's it going, Keith? He's on as collaborated cosplay, but our friend Steve Lender is also in the chat.
Yes, we said we're a minute late. We're here. We're here.
No, but he said that at 6:30.
Actually, you know what? 6:21 is when he said that. Settle down, Steve. Settle down.
Yeah. So
producer Jen, all proud. My boys.
There you go.
My boys.
Yeah, there's a lot of nerdy stuff going on.
There's a ton of nerdy stuff going on.
When we're trying to figure out what are we going to talk about, it's like, well, why don't we just talk about everything? Because it feels like it hasn't been just me and you for a while with the comments. So I feel like it's time to have one of those nights where you people in the comments are really going to drive the conversation and direct what we're talking about. But we do have some stuff we do want to talk about. We mentioned a little bit of it in our technical difficulties pre-show on Instagram. 15 minutes. We go live on Instagram. If you didn't know, check us out, Geeks & Co. at Messiah Complex Cosplay. How's it going?
So good. Are you kidding me? Again, we talked about it on the pre-show. Bit of an emotional roller coaster today. We will not be giving away any spoilers, but hot diggity dog, that Star Trek Picard show wrung me out. Like, you remember those old clothes washers? They would put the clothes in, there'd be two rollers, they would just crank that shit through. That's what Star Trek Picard did to me today. In a good way, don't misunderstand, but my lord, did this old man weep like a hungry, angry baby. Woo!
I don't want to get into the details of what happened in this episode, just for the people that didn't watch it. If you do want the spoilers, go watch our after show. Which, by the way, I don't know if Megan is watching, but the after show should be on the drive now. So tomorrow the after show should be out. Go watch our after show. We go into all the details. We talk about, yes, that's right, this episode made both of us cry. And no, we didn't watch it together. It was something else. We can't hear you anymore for some reason.
We should watch the last one somehow and just hold each other and weep uncontrollably as the whole thing comes to an end.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should do like a
live watch.
Yeah, a watch party or whatnot.
And we can just cry together and everybody
can
I mean, we should go live on YouTube while we do it, and people could just watch our reactions as we watch two old cis white guys sob into the camera.
Maybe that's what next week's podcast should be. Maybe it's not an actual podcast. Maybe we just sit down and we watch the last episode of Picard together. Yep. And anybody else that wants to join us that's been watching Picard this year can join us. As
I think you know what? Legit, I think that's a great idea if we do a live watch party. I don't know if we'll get away with it on YouTube, but we should absolutely do that.
For sure. I don't want to get into specific details. But
no, of course.
Picard, and we've talked about this, I think, week over week now. It's done this thing where it's been able to take nostalgia, put it in a box, wrap it up with a bow, and Amazon it right to our fucking laps every week. And I don't want to presume here because I don't want to talk for everybody. Okay. But the state of Star Trek fandom has not been anywhere near what it was back in the days of Next Gen. Let's be honest. There's a lot of division in the fandom. There's a lot of people that don't like this and they hate that and they love this, but right? I'm one of them. Yeah, I don't like everything that Star Trek makes. But this show, I think, is universally loved. I don't see anybody talking shit about this show. It is amazing. This is what Star Trek is about, as far as I'm concerned. What this show is doing to us and how it's making us feel like kids again is what Star Trek was meant to do, make you feel like a kid. And this show is doing that again. And it took 30 years for them to do that for us again. And now that they're finally doing it to us, it's over.
And if you want more along that line of thought, that train of thought, check out the after show starring JS and I every week. We just shot this one today, like not what 3 hours ago, not even 3 hours ago. It
No,
will
no, no.
likely be up tomorrow, thanks to editor Megan. So yeah, definitely go watch that if you want all of our thoughts and feelings on
Mhm.
Picard, not just this episode, but Picard overall. But we are going to talk some other geek stuff here, kids. One thing I wanted to make put out for our DC guys is I saw someone in the chat, I think it was Megan, said the Marvels. We're going to talk about the Marvels. That trailer just dropped. That actually, you know what? I have some thoughts on both sides of the fence on that. But on the DC side of things, there has been some some definitive news. The voice cast has been announced for DC Studios' planned animated series Creature Commandos. This is essentially the first effort by James Gunn and his producing partner Peter Safran for the new DCU timeline. It will come out in 2024, so it will be out before Superman Legacy, before the Batman sequel. It will start out as animated, but Gunn has been very, very clear. Even though this is an animated show, everybody that's being cast as a voice actor has the potential to be on screen as these characters as well. They will appear in live action as well. So the human looking guy there is Rick Flag Sr. He's going to be played by Frank Grillo. If that name sounds familiar, Frank Grillo was Crossbones in the MCU. A recent article came out with Frank Grillo saying that he feels his character in the MCU was kind of shortchanged, that they could have done a lot more with Crossbones and didn't, and thus he
Especially
decided.
in that Winter Soldier world.
And Civil
Frank
War.
Willow in Civil War, Crossbones fit perfectly
Yeah.
in that style. And I don't disagree with him, right? I feel like he could have been much, much more, and it was treated a bit as a throwaway thing.
Well, and for spoiler alert, by the way, in the Civil War comics, Captain America ends up being shot and killed by Crossbones.
Yeah.
That's how important that character was in those stories in the comics. So Grillo finally had enough, and he's made the jump to DC. He's going to be portraying Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos. Zoe Chow is Nina Mazursky. Alan Tudyk hell, Alan Tudyk's been in everything at this point. Dr. Phosphorus. David Harbour from Stranger Things is Eric Frankenstein. Indira Varma from Game of Thrones. She is the bride. Sean Gunn, the brother of James Gunn, is both G.I. Robot and Weasel, and Maria Bakalova as the new character, Princess Ilana Rostovic. You will also hear from Stephen Agee and Viola Davis reprising their Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad roles of Amanda Waller and John Economos, respectively. So Gunn wrote all the episodes. He's directing some of them along with the initial recordings. This is part of what chapter 1 of the new DCU is supposed to be. So that is now confirmed. That is the cast for that particular show. Let us know what you guys think. I wanted more
this,
Crossbones.
from my understanding, is
Agreed.
canon.
Correct. This is the first official project of the DCU.
Yeah.
So Frank Grillo was absolutely shortchanged. Yeah, I agree. I've enjoyed pretty much everything I've seen Grillo in. And he is he's a legit badass too. Like, he is a legit tough guy. It would be nice to see him in a media role where they give him more things to do. For sure.
I just want to take a quick break here and come back here because Tanith also says that her brother refuses to watch Picard. He's missing out because it's, I think, some of the best Star Trek ever. And Megan is saying, I personally appreciate the nostalgia isn't only there for fan service, also fits and moves the plot forward. It does. Terry Metalis is ridiculous. I don't know where he came out of, but he reminds me of Dave Filoni. Anyway. So this is interesting to me. I didn't know this property before they announced it just recently. I still don't really know who most of these characters are. I didn't realize that Rick Flag was Rick Flag Jr. and that there was a Rick Flag Sr.
Nor did I.
When I saw these images originally, I assumed there was just the one Rick Flag.
I got you. Yep.
So this is happening in well, no, it's DCU now. It's the new DCU, so
It's the
it's
new continuity. It's
completely
the post
separate.
Flash new continuity. This will start
Right.
with the build and lead into Superman Legacy as far as that goes. So Superman Legacy is the real kickoff of the DCU, but this does take place beforehand. This is the first official project of the DCU. So we will see what happens. I mean, looking at it, it definitely has some Guardian vibes to it for sure.
Mhm.
It's a wonky group of misfit characters that have to get together and I'm assuming, fight bad guys and solve mysteries and that kind of shit. So
Mhm. It feels very Doom Patrol for me.
very Doom Patrol. Very, very Doom Patrol.
Um,
Yes.
which
Agreed.
almost makes me disappointed that if they were gonna do a big project like this, that it wouldn't be the Doom Patrol, considering we already know them a little bit, and some
Yep.
people have already started building some attachment with some of these characters. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I hope this
Nope.
works,
I agree.
and
And I think it's
I will
pretty
be curious.
obvious that the Doom Patrol TV show took place in an alternate unit. Like it clearly was not happening in the main DCEU, especially since
Mhm.
there was not Cyclops, Jesus wept. Cyborg. Totally different cyborg. So clearly it's
Mhm.
not that was not so it could be incorporated. Parts of it could like we could get the Doom Patrol and it could be something similar to or the Doom Patrol that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it might. I
Who
mean, we
knows?
don't really know, right? As I
No, we
guess
do
is the
not know.
point.
Are we gonna stay
And
with
like I
these?
said, I hope it works. I
I
am
hope
going to
it
be
does too.
curious to find out where in the timeline it falls with the rest of the DCU. Right? Is this going to be in the same time period as the Superman movie we're getting? Is it going to be in the same time period as any of the other movies that we're getting, or is this going to be like in the past? Right,
Yeah.
in the 50s or 40s or 20s or whatever it
I
is.
don't know. I'm not
And
familiar enough with the property to be able to be like, yeah, it's gonna be blah. I don't know. It's a good
yeah,
question.
it'll be interesting to see because I don't know. I like the concept.
Yes.
So
I also like
uh yeah. Collaborated cosplay is saying Doom Patrol was really good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, me too, Steve. I it was Doom
weird,
Patrol
kooky fun.
and Titans.
Yeah.
Loved it. I
Yep,
loved
me
both
too.
shows. I
Yep,
know a
me
lot of
too.
people hated them. I loved them.
No, I liked them
Uh,
both too.
okay, season 3 of Titans was a little weird, and the way they did the Red Hood. Me being a big Red Hood fan, I wasn't super happy with even the portrayal of the character as a young kid like that. But I love those shows.
So
They're set
Reed
in World
saying,
War II, so there you go.
yep.
So
So
it's
while it is
very
in the same
unlikely.
universe, it's not in the same time frame.
Yeah, it's very unlikely, I think, that we're going to see some of these characters cross over into live action and some of the other shows. Although not impossible. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what Groot's saying too. Sorry. We're
Holy
fighting over it
cow!
now.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was incredibly weird and kooky, but in the best way. Yeah, I could not agree more.
Yeah,
And Keith is saying the same thing. Love Doom Patrol and Titans. Sorry, they're both ending. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen with most of the properties that were in existence that were not going to be part of the new DCU. They were going to come to an end, much like Marvel did when they ended all the
Mhm.
Netflix shows so they could launch their own streaming service and their own TV shows,
Mhm.
even though they're bringing some of those characters back. Yeah, I get it for sure. No Titans as much. Oh, sorry. You wanted to put Jordan's comment up there for sure. Get in there.
No, I was trying to put Keith's comment, but then
I
Jordan
got
came in and clicked on it by mistake. But we could put that up as well. He says he didn't like Titans.
became very blah. That's fair.
I,
I will
I
agree with you that it's not for everyone. It had a
yeah.
very specific tone, and if you didn't buy in, you were never going to get there. I bought in immediately because I'm the DC guy, so I already loved all those characters so much that as soon as I saw them realized on screen, and I thought they were doing a really good job portraying them, I
Mhm.
was in from the start. So, but I
Read
get how
here.
some people would not. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Read here saying they're the supernatural howling commandos Suicide Squad. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm getting, right?
I
Uh
said that before. I'm getting a very League of Extraordinary Gentlemen type vibe
yeah,
from it for
exactly.
sure. So
Steve was saying Titans was good as well, although I dislike the Teen Titans animated show. Dude, I love the Teen Titans. I even love Teen Titans Go. The really silly one for little kids. Man, me and my daughter watched the shit out of that when she was young. We even went to see the movie. I loved it all. I have a thing for the Teen Titans, or for the Titans in general. I don't know what it is. I just freaking love them. I don't care which iteration from the Teen Titans anime show to even some of the portrayal of the Titans within Young Justice. That was also a banger of a series.
Young Justice was amazing.
Yeah.
So good. One of the best animated shows I've ever seen, as how good Young Justice is, absolutely for sure.
But DC is just well, they haven't announced because it's been announced for a while, I guess. But they just released today. Yesterday? They released today. I think it was yesterday.
I think
they released
That's okay.
a brand new trailer.
Time is fluid.
For something that I feel like we've been waiting for a while now. Ever since the Batman came out, right away they announced, I think maybe even before the movie came out, they had already announced that they were doing the Penguin spinoff. And it's finally happening. Guys, if you haven't seen the trailer looks
dope as shit.
Boy, oh boy, I gotta be careful. Friggin' dope. Let's put it that way. Trailer looks amazing. I feel like it captured the. Why am I sharing twice here? There we go. I feel like it captured the tone of the Batman perfectly as far as what Gotham is and the almost art deco style of the movie. And I mean, look at this guy. Actually, he's over here. It's Colin Farrell, folks.
Yeah, that's can't stand. Like, I didn't know there was a trailer for Penguin. And the cool part about this trailer is it is more of a featurette, as it says. So it's intermixed between finished shots and then behind the scenes looks at how this series is being built. Because this takes place weeks to days after the Batman ends, as there's now a vacuum, a void of power. Now that Carmine Falcone, who was played by John Turturro in the film, was killed. Now there's a struggle for power, and I'm personally very, very excited for who they've cast for Salvatore Maroni. Sal Maroni is in the Batman lore one of the big crime bosses. Clancy Brown has actually been cast as Salvatore Maroni in this series. If you don't know who Clancy Brown is, he was the Kurgan in the original Highlander film. He has voiced Lex Luthor numerous times in various different animated things.
I'm trying to bring him up.
And believe it or not, he also voices Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants. But Clancy Brown,
he does. That's right.
Absolutely,
he's Mr. Krabs.
Yes, he is a giant man. He's intimidating. His voice is amazing. His acting is wonderful. Him as a crime boss, as Salvatore Maroni, I think it's just going to be absolutely insanely great, playing off how well Colin Farrell. You talk about someone disappearing into the role, even without the prosthetics. I still wouldn't know that was Colin Farrell. I mean, just a completely different. I mean, as an actor, that's what he's supposed to do for a living. Well, he's crushing it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him in the Batman, and this trailer really has me hyped for this show. My real thing is if we're gonna have a show within the Batman world and we never see Batman never gets involved, how big of crime bosses are these guys?
I have a feeling, hoping, okay, I'm just putting this up to the universe. I'm hoping that this is what we thought, or we were hoping we were going to get with the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
With a vacuum, a struggle for power in the underworld that is, in this case, Gotham instead of Tatooine, between these sort of warring factions, trying to fill the void that Carmine Falcone left when he died. So that's what I'm hoping we get. And I'm assuming Batman is just going to have, because they have talked about, by the way, who the probable villain is for the Batman Part 2. And it is supposed to be Clayface. I know. So my assumption here is that he's going to be entirely too busy with whatever he's got going on to deal with whatever this little internal power structure is. And to be fair, as they did, if you've watched the Batman, they kind of make the Penguin out to be not a joke per se, but I mean, he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like the guy that would be the crime boss of all of the entire underworld in Gotham.
Well, I mean, but that's the Penguin.
I know.
He's never the
He's never the guy.
He's never the big boss of
That's
the
right.
Gotham underworld because
Yeah.
he's the Penguin,
That's right.
right?
He's got the waddle. He's,
Yeah.
whatever. He's a bit of a
He's a
joke.
pain in Batman's. I don't know that he's a joke. But he's a pain in Batman's ass. But he's never going to be Carmine Falcone as much
Basically,
as he wants to be.
the Batman 1.5. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I kind of hope that that's what we're gonna. And this is where my hopes lie: is if this is picking up right after the Batman, I hope this is a movie that will take us from the Batman to. Do we even know what they're calling part 2?
Yeah,
Is it going to be
part,
the Batman 2?
the Batman Part 2 or Chapter 2, maybe something along those lines.
Okay, well, anyway, I hope it's going to be that bridge style of
that's my
TV
assumption.
show
That's what it
that
would
will
be.
tell
Sure.
us a story that connects the first movie to the second movie.
Of
That
course.
maybe doesn't need to be seen to enjoy the second movie.
Right.
But if you've seen the show, then
It'll
the
help to
second movie can
flesh
have a
out.
different meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
No, agreed.
That's what I'm kind of hoping out of this show.
What's Megan talking about here? That's a made up name. Which name were we making up there? I didn't even catch that. Anyways,
Carmine
Falcone. Well, that's or Salvatore Maroni. I don't know. Regardless, this series looks fantastic. On the newly branded Max, by the way, it's no longer HBO Max. It is now just Max now. They've dropped the HBO name. I've seen some reasons why. All of them sounded really, really stupid, but whatever. That's fine.
Well, I can tell you what the reason is. It's quite simple. Because HBO is not Discovery, right?
Well,
so they don't want the name HBO there anymore because Max is Discovery, right? They own it all now. So why brand it as an HBO thing when it's now your brand, right?
Any hoodles. I'm excited for this TV show. I will absolutely be watching. This is not a prequel, thankfully. Like you were saying, it's a bridge between two films.
Yeah. Well,
which I'm fine with. It almost has to be. It's taking place after the Batman Part 1 and before the Batman Part 2. So it kind of has to.
They haven't told us if this is going to be just a limited series, if it's going to be like a season over season. Like we don't know any of those details yet, do we?
We do not as far as I know, just other than the fact that it's supposed to air next year. There's nothing else that's been announced, and now we get this teaser.
I can't stop staring at him. I mean, this is crazy.
No, it's crazy. No, it's bonkers.
And in the trailer, he's totally believable.
Oh yeah,
he's 100% believable. Like it's not kooky, it's not silly. It's I'm digging this. And I hope he has I hope him getting his own show means that he's going to have a bigger part to play in the TV show.
Look at like how bonkers is that? Like how crazy does he look? Look at the look on his face. My goodness, I'm sorry, kids. It's just crushing it. Just absolutely crushing it. I cannot wait.
Now, there's a lot of people that didn't like the Batman. A lot of people hated it. There's a lot of people that thought it was too long, it was too slow, it was too much of a grind, it was too emo, it was too whatever. That's totally fine.
They're allowed to be wrong.
But a lot of those people aren't going to be enjoying this show either because I feel it's going to take a lot from that world. But
yes, exactly. So it might not be your cup of tea, but that is
you can't be right about everything, right?
No, exactly. Well, yeah. On the DC side of things, I think that's probably about it. We should probably talk about the Marvels.
So we could totally talk about the Marvels. If you haven't seen the Marvels trailer, I'm assuming you're living under a rock because they've been pushing the shit out of this one
everywhere.
Actually, they call it a teaser trailer because it's only like 1.5 minutes. It's not 2.5 minutes or whatever. So I believe they're calling it a teaser trailer. I'll let you start on this one because I think I might have to get into a bit of an explanation before I tell you how I feel about this trailer.
That's probably going to be a good idea because obviously there are two characters in this new film that have not appeared in the previous films, Monica Rambeau
Mhm,
and um, Kamala Khan, right?
mhm,
So Kamala Khan is Ms. Marvel from the TV show, the Disney Plus show Ms. Marvel, and Monica Rambeau, or Photon, as she's known in the comics, is from WandaVision. So you're getting some
mhm.
characters directly pulled from those two particular television shows, and in a weird, quirky twist, they keep swapping essentially places. Anytime one of them uses their powers, they end up swapping places with another, which was teased or hinted at the end of the Ms. Marvel TV show, where Brie Larson actually appears as Captain Marvel
Oh, does
once.
she really?
Yes, Kamala
Oh, I didn't
Khan
know that.
ends up falling back into a closet or getting blown back into a closet, and it's not Kamala Khan that comes out, it's Captain Marvel, Carol
Huh,
Danvers, that comes out.
interesting.
Yeah, so and they're really playing up on that in the trailer itself, making for some
Mhm.
very cute back and forth. Each time any of them use their powers, they're swapping places and such. We get the return of Nick Fury. The question, of course, with all the Marvel movies now, unfortunately, is since the blip, when does this take place? Is this taking place after Secret Wars? Like, is this the actual Nick Fury? Because he certainly doesn't have the beard or the facial hair or the whatever that he's got in the Secret Invasion trailer. So is
Now that's a
this
good
Talos?
question.
Is it actually Nick Fury? Is it taking place now? Is it post Secret Invasion? Is it pre-Secret Invasion? The Marvel timeline, I'm not going to lie, guys, it's a little bit confusing. We're not quite at X-Men from Fox levels yet, but it is getting a little bit. Fury looks very different than he looks in the Secret Invasion trailer. That's
Okay, so
all I'm going to
Keith is
say.
saying that saw something that said it's after Secret Invasion.
Okay.
Uh, which would make sense because um Monica doesn't get her powers. She only gets her powers in WandaVision. WandaVision happens after the blip, right? After
Right.
everybody's back.
Right.
So if in this movie she has her powers, it has to be post blip.
Right. No, and I'm
That has
sorry.
to be established,
I know I'm
right?
bringing up the blip. I just mean that everything that's happened post blip, the timeline just seems
That's a
very it's
little
a little
murky.
curious. So,
Yeah.
um but I will say this, guys. So let's be clear. If you were under the impression that you could skip some of the TV shows and still be fully immersed when the movies come out, if you didn't think those were required viewing, this trailer would seem to suggest that that's not the case. That if you haven't watched WandaVision and you haven't watched Ms. Marvel, you're not going to be familiar with those two characters. There may be some subtleties or some major plot points that you may not be aware of or that you may miss if you haven't watched those two shows. Now, I'm only going based off the trailer. I don't know. Hopefully, there'll be
You
enough
know,
there for
I'm
us
gonna
guys.
say this for you, bud.
Shoot.
Endgame.
What about it?
Well, Endgame did the same thing to us, right? Endgame made us believe that we had to go and watch Captain Marvel to be able to get what was going to happen in Endgame, and she barely was in the movie.
No, but at least that was still another film. Like there were films that led up to
Well,
Endgame that
yes,
made sense. They weren't 6 or 8 or 10 episode television shows. I think WandaVision was 12 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how many episodes Miss Marvel was. Where if you don't watch those, I don't know how well this movie is going to cater to those that didn't watch WandaVision and or Ms. Marvel.
I don't know. I mean, I think yes, you like Tanith is saying here. I think you absolutely have to watch the show to know about Monica and Kamala. And you're right. If you want to know everything about them, you have to watch the show. But I don't think you need to know everything about them to be able to enjoy the movie,
Well, that's my concern. That's all I'm saying.
right?
That's my worry is
And
that
if
there's going to be
that's the
stuff.
case, then they're gonna have a problem because a lot of people skipped specifically Miss Marvel. A lot of people didn't watch Miss Marvel.
I mean, just
Uh,
in general, if movies are going to come out and I have to have dedicated 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 hours of my time
yeah,
just
to
so I
watch a
get what's
movie,
going on in the movie,
that's
that's going to make it rough. Now,
yeah,
again, Marvel's been pretty good about this in the past where they do give you certain little things that give you like to help you catch up during the film if you
yeah.
haven't watched it. That's not my biggest concern with this movie after watching this trailer. My biggest concern is the overall goofiness of the tone of the film. Are we going to get a Thor Ragnarok, or are we going to get a Thor Love and Thunder? As far as the humor and the tone and the goofiness goes, is it going to be mixed in with the action well, like it was in Ragnarok, or is it going to be overused too much and feel forced like it did in Love and Thunder? The trailer's not enough to go by, guys. I'm never going to sit here and say a 2.5-minute trailer is enough to tell you how the movie's going to be, but that does have me slightly concerned because there were a lot of parts of that trailer that came across as super goofy and not necessarily, I don't know, as funny is the word I would use, but
That's
do you
fair.
understand what I'm trying to say?
No, that's fair. 100%. I will say this, though. For me, I didn't really like the Captain Marvel movie at all. I mean, it's at the bottom of my Marvel lists. And I was psyched about this when I saw this. Like, this made me go, oh, this looks cool. And I will say this. Captain Marvel's suit in this movie looks way better than it looked in Captain Marvel and in Endgame. Like, her suit actually looks like a proper fitting suit. I don't know. Like, when I saw this trailer, I was like, oh, this might like sell me on these characters. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised that you kind of have the opposite.
Andrew makes a good point.
Yeah.
And Andrew, you're absolutely right. Multiverse of Madness would have left you lost on Scarlet Witch's obsession about her non-existent kids. I don't know if it would have necessarily left you lost, but you definitely get a much deeper understanding of why she did what she did and the turn, I guess, the heel turn that she made because of that. Although Multiverse of Madness was blah. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, Tans makes a good point. I think you could probably go without seeing them, but you miss a fair amount of how they came to be who they are. So that's
for sure.
I have to be able to be invested in the characters to enjoy the film, which has always been my argument against Rogue One. If I'm not into the characters, if I don't care enough about the characters, the story's not enough to drive the film for me. Marvel's been so good about making you care about the characters.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Was there a 9-episode show about Luke Skywalker before you watched A New Hope?
No.
Did you still enjoy the movie and connected with the character?
Yeah, because they took time to build him out in the movie.
Right. So it doesn't mean they're not going to still do some of that in this movie.
No, I hope they do.
Right.
Absolutely. I hope they do.
Because let's be honest, we don't know much about Monica at all.
Right. Just what we saw in WandaVision.
What we saw in WandaVision, right? So we saw her get her powers, but beyond that, we don't really know much about her at all. Right.
No, and I'm curious as to how well this triangle is going to be. Like if it's truly going to be sort of like an equal amount of the three of them, or if it's going to be a whole lot of Brie Larson, quite a bit of, and I apologize, I don't know the actress's name that plays Kamala Khan, and then just a little bit of Monica. You know what I mean? Like I wonder how well they're going to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Brie Larson is a legit movie star, and the other two actors in this film, the main actors, are just from those TV series. I don't know if they've started in other things, but Brie Larson certainly has. She's a big name. She was a big get for Marvel to play this role for them. And despite whatever anybody might have thought about Captain Marvel, it still made over $1 billion. It made a ton of money, and it appealed to a lot of young women. And well, it should. It had that level of appeal for it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm still always going to contest that the reason why Captain Marvel made $1 billion is because they made you believe it was required viewing for Endgame. It was the last MCU movie to come out before Endgame.
Captain America, the First Avenger, was the last movie to come out before the Avengers movie, and they also made you think you had to watch that, and it didn't even make 300 million worldwide. So I don't know that.
But you're comparing the First Avenger to Endgame.
I understand.
Right?
I'm just
the biggest movie of all time, right? Like, let's be honest here, right? Like,
well, but yeah, I get what you mean.
You get what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying. I don't know that would have carried it to $1 billion.
Everybody went to see it, but a lot of people didn't like it.
Well, yeah, mostly
money doesn't mean we don't like it.
Yeah, mostly old men like us that can't really relate to a young female superhero is who didn't enjoy that film.
100% fair, but that's nothing to do with the point I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make is that even though I didn't like that one, this one to me looks awesome.
No, that's fantastic. Of course. And that's what I'm saying. If you like Ragnarok and it has that Ragnarok vibe, I think
I will love it. Film. Yes. If it has the Ragnarok feel, I will love the shit out of this.
Yeah.
For sure. Whether I know these characters or not, because I guarantee you they're going to spend some time telling you who these characters are. They're not just going to throw it at you and say, oh, well, tough luck if you haven't watched the show.
No,
I
that's
don't
fair.
think they'd be that silly. I mean, they could.
General viewers versus crazies. No, and Reed, we talk about this on the pod all the time. They don't make these movies for us. They never have. They never will.
No.
They're making them for the general audience because that's how you get $1 billion
Yeah.
film, is by having the general audience there. So that's, anyways. I'm excited for the film. I am hopeful. I am just keeping that hope measured because I don't really know at least one of the characters very well, who seems to be fairly heavily featured in the trailer. That's Kamala Khan. And
Mhm.
I'm worried that the tone might get a little too on the goofy side, a la Love and Thunder. So,
And that's a fair criticism because Love and
we will
Thunder
see.
was bad.
Woof.
Like, it was.
Iman Vellani is playing Kamala Khan. Okay. Ms.
Thank you,
Marvel was her
Keith.
first gig, and she's from Toronto. Oh, awesome. She's one of
Is
us.
she really?
One of us. One of us.
Huh. Where is the show? Is the show produced here? I know there's a
don't
lot of TV shows produced in Toronto,
I
but I
don't
don't think
the Marvel ones are. I don't think
No.
so. No, I do. I might be wrong, but I don't.
They
don't
have
think
built. Disney did build apparently. I don't know if there's any truth behind this, but Disney apparently built a smaller version of the volume here in Toronto, so that they can start producing some of their shows up here. Because now that they have the volume and they want to do all these Star Wars shows, you need more volume time. The only way to
Right.
get more volume time is to build a second one. Apparently, they built it here in Toronto. So we may
Sure.
get some Star Wars show being produced here. Sorry, there's a dog here flying in the air here. But I don't believe any Marvel shows have been produced here. The
Right.
Marvel ones are usually in Atlantis, says Keith. Well, there you go. So,
Yeah, Georgia has a ton of tax breaks for film and
I'm sure
TV
they do.
production. So a lot of folks are into that. Yeah. So we're going to remain hopeful. That's where we'll leave that one off.
Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't been the biggest fan of the latest MCU stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
Oof.
None of it has blown me away like some of it has. And to be fair, a lot of it has not blown me away. But lately, there's a lot more average and meh movies and shows than good ones for me. So I'm hopeful for this one. But if it's just another meh movie, well, then. I mean, it is what it is with the
That's
MCU
right.
these days, right?
We will see what we will see, kids.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly.
just keep our fingers crossed.
One trailer that did come out today that I went, whoa, this looks fucking dope. It's the last voyage of the Demeter. Guys, if you don't know this story, the Demeter is the actual ship. The
ship from the book, yes.
Yeah. That brought Dracula from Transylvania to, I guess it's North
London.
America?
London.
To London.
Yeah, London.
To London.
London, England, by the way, not the Canadian
Yes.
London, the cool London.
So this is a kind of a new Dracula take.
So, as we knew this was going to happen, kids, if you are around for our top 10 villains discussion, someone was very vocal that Dracula needed to be number one and is still beating that drum to this day. Fucking Dracula, the greatest villain of all time. This is producer Jen, kids, here on the podcast, still beating the drum for Dracula to be the number one villain of all time. So that's what this movie's focus is on. A paragraph from Bram Stoker's book about the ship that transported Dracula from, as JS said, Transylvania to London. The ship leaves Transylvania with a full crew and a secret cargo the crew knows nothing about, and it shows up in London
with no crew.
With no crew whatsoever, devoid of life, a burnt out husk. Mm-hmm. But there's still one guy on there that no one seems to know that's on there, and that is, of course, Count Dracula. So this is an expansion of a small line or a small paragraph that was in the original book, and it looks very moody, very atmospheric. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like Alien, the original 1979 film by Ridley Scott, Alien in the 1800s on a pirate ship, as opposed to a futuristic on a spaceship.
This one here for me, I mean, I knew what I was watching, obviously, when the trailer started.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting this.
Fair.
this is like what you're seeing here on screen is exactly how he's presented in this trailer, as a creature, not as a human at all.
Oh,
He's got wings and he flies and he's a
yeah.
creature.
And I love the
And
fact that he's not some sexy,
no,
stylish,
he's not like that at all,
three
right?
suits vampire. Like you don't know whether you want him to bite you or bleep you. Not
Yeah.
this guy. No, no, no.
No.
This dude's not fucking about.
No, this is
You
the type of
don't want to
creature
be on
you'd
a
see
ship
in
with
The
this guy.
Witcher, right?
Yeah.
And it's very dark. It's very fast and listen. Go watch a trailer if you haven't seen it. This looks dope. I think this looks dope. I'm really looking forward to this.
If this is your genre, I think this is going to be right up your alley. And it's I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me just see if I can find it. It is a director that has other works that are similar to this work as far as like this moody atmospheric style.
Really?
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm just pulling it up now. The project hails from acclaimed Norwegian film director Andre Avredal, Troll Hunter, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, along with producers of Zodiac and Black Swan. So I think that's why you're getting not just the overall look, but the tone that's coming along with that. That's very, yeah, love me a good vampire movie. Yeah, that's very dark, and it's at the beginning it seems hopeful. By the way, we get and again from JS doesn't know, but we get Davos, the gentleman that played Davos, who was Davos Seaworth, who was a captain of a boat on Game of Thrones. He is the captain of this ship as well,
Right.
and we also get a few other familiar faces in here. Like JS said, if you haven't watched this trailer, you should go watch this trailer. Even if you're not necessarily a horror fan, this still comes across as a very cool, moody, atmospheric film. And I don't know how much gore you're going to get. I think it's going to be a lot of like the original Alien. I think you're going to get a lot of
a lot of you think it's or
off-screen
they're
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
For
So we'll
me,
see.
the most not the most recognizable. I recognize a lot of these faces, but the one that really caught my eye is Corey Hawkins, who plays Dr. Dre in NWA. Sorry, in Straight Outta Compton.
Right.
He seems to be the main protagonist in this movie. A lot of the trailer seems to follow him around.
Right.
He's the passenger on the ship, I guess.
Yeah, and
right?
I believe when you watch the trailer, he's the doctor. He's the educated
correct
person that's on the ship. Just a really quick note too. Stefan, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Kapicic, is the gentleman that is the body and voice of Colossus.
Oh, it's Colossus.
The Deadpool movies. By the way,
Yeah.
there's some news on that front too.
He's back as Deadpool. He's back as Colossus.
And Marina Baccarin is back as Vanessa.
Oh, is she really?
Marina Baccarin.
Wait, isn't she dead?
I'm just telling you now. So Marina Baccarin was just on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, and he asked her specifically if she would be in Deadpool 3. She said
yes.
that no. At the time, she said talks had commenced, but nothing had been agreed upon yet. So she just posted on her social media, I said yes, and it looks like Deadpool proposing to her, but she was referring to this. So both her and Colossus will reprise their roles. Well, remember at the end of Deadpool 2, he's got the Cable's time thing, and he actually prevents her death from happening. He actually saves her at the end of Deadpool 2. So technically she's alive. So yes, so we're getting that. We're getting Dopinder, we're getting Blind Al, and of course we all know we're getting huge jacked man as Wolverine. Yeah. Deadpool 3, man. Shaping up. I thought it was going to be like Ragnarok, where they were just going to pitch off all the old characters, and they were essentially going to give us a reboot of some kind. But they're bringing in some folks. So,
I've been corrected.
Yes,
and saying the post credit said otherwise. Time travel. I had completely forgot that bit. Steve here, Mr. Groot, saying I love horror, so I'm game for this one. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say I'm a Dracula nut or anything like that, but
no, that would be your missus.
Seen it. I think everything that is been put out that is Dracula specifically related when it comes to movies and TV shows, but this is different. This
No, this caught my attention, and horror is not my genre at all. But this
mhm.
looks very, very well done, very well shot, very atmospheric, very. I've been obsessed with vampires my entire life. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I
I
enjoy the mythology surrounding it. I enjoy the lore that surrounds it. Um, and yeah, I mentioned to JS earlier when we were talking on our own that I've just recently rewatched the Francis Ford Coppola movie starring Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman. And even though there are obviously parts of it that are very camp and that don't hold up very well, there are all kinds of parts of it that hold up like a mofo. So, like Jen was saying, man, I mean, like,
Gary
it's hard to
Oldman.
argue. You're talking about like one of the all-time classic great villains that's ever been. So, and now we're getting to see him in a whole different light, and I'm here for it.
Mhm.
I can't wait.
Mhm. I don't think Jen is the one that brought that up again earlier because we had this discussion a while ago. Characters like vampires and specifically Dracula seem to come in cycles, right? Like
Right.
they'll be popular for a while and then they'll disappear for a bunch of years and then they'll come back and be popular for a while and disappear for a while, Like the same thing with the zombies, right? Although the zombies, like I feel like they've been a little bit overdone now. Like it's time for a zombie break, but uh yeah, the Dracula wave, I think, and the vampire wave is coming back. I think so.
It definitely comes in ebbs and flows. There's no question there.
Mhm.
Like you said, the
Mhm.
the latest ebb has definitely been, or flow has definitely been zombies. Now that's getting kind of worked to death. Now we might move on to vampires, and then after vampires, it'll be something else.
I
We'll
wanna
go
see the
back to
Nick Cage
aliens or
one.
something. So,
Uh,
Renfield?
Renfield, that looks pretty good. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
pretty funny.
yeah. I don't know that it again. That and Nick Cage is the nephew of Mr. Coppola. That's correct. Yep. His actual name is Nick Coppola. He took the name Cage after Luke Cage, his favorite Marvel character. We will find out one way or another, kids. We will definitely find out.
Oh my god, is this in that movie? Oh no, it's okay. This is digital art. Sorry, I'm not even gonna show this on screen because it got my
That's okay.
hopes up for a second. But yeah, Renfield is one that looks interesting. And I mean, I don't want to talk about Dracula specifically, but I think it's time we do something horror based. I think it's time we do
I made the suggestion.
it's time we do something creature monster based. Guys, if you are listening to us now, if you're in the chat now and you'd love to get in on some sort of a crazy monster creature, slasher horror group cosplay, let us know. I think that could be quite interesting.
I want to suck your blood. You know, if we do that, and if Jen comes along, just to be a prick, I'm going to get the cheesiest frilly tuxedo I can find, like an old style cheesy frilly tuxedo, and get like the worst
The
fake
plastic
vampire
fake
teeth.
teeth, yeah.
Yep. And I will just be talking like these the whole time. It's
Mm-hmm.
just to bother
Ha
your
ha
missus.
ha. No, it's
Okay. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it won't be the count. I won't be the count from Sesame Street, but I will definitely be the cheesiest vampire that there's ever been.
blah blah blah.
Blah. That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I do not say blah blah
I
blah.
don't say blah blah blah. Yeah, that's Hotel Transylvania for the folks out there that are listening. My
Those
kids
movies
like
are
the
fantastic.
my
That's
my kids
another
did
version
dig
of
those for
Dracula I
sure.
love.
What
Uh,
else? What else were we going? Oh, I know it's not your cup of tea, but I feel like we have to address it.
no, we do, and not that it's not my cup of tea as much as it's not. Well, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. Let's be
It's not your
honest.
cup of tea. I know.
I mean, I'm not. I never read the books. The books were written after my time.
It's fair.
I think I've seen the movies. I'm not sure if I saw the last one. Okay.
So, guys, unless you've been living in a cave on Mars with your eyes shut and your fingers in your ears, you may not know. But Warner Brothers Discovery, when the merger took place, they separated out key properties, intellectual properties they had that they wanted to expand upon. DC was one of them, obviously. One of the other ones they wanted to expand upon is Harry Potter. I know this is going to get spicy, but we have to talk about it. Recently, Hogwarts Legacy, the game came out, and a lot of people came out against the game because of J.K. Rowling. If you don't know, J.K. Rowling made some statements online through Twitter that have come across since then or been interpreted since then as transphobic. And instead of apologizing for it or rescinding those comments, she essentially doubled down on those comments. Basically, we're not going to get into the specifics of what she was talking about because I think it's going to be bad on how the conversation will go. Hogwarts Legacy came out, which, by the way, she didn't have anything to do with as far as development goes, but anything that's got the Harry Potter name on it is a revenue stream for J.K. Rowling because she's got about 1 million of them. Unfortunately, the people that were being vocal about boycotting the game essentially brought awareness to the game to a whole giant group of people that would have never known existed. And the game ended up being the number one selling game and the number one streaming game almost exclusively because of how much
I hear it's really good
publicity that it got, good or bad, but publicity it got from a lot of people shouting from the mountaintops that they wanted everyone to boycott the game. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery is actually partnering up with J.K. Rowling to launch a new Harry Potter TV show. They're talking about it being a decade-long, a 10-year Harry Potter TV show that will be able to follow the books more closely and all the different nuances, all the different little subplots that the movies were unable to explore because of time constraints. They will be able to do in a long-form television show.
Mm-hmm.
And this has, once again, and I think Megan says she actually speaks for quite a few of us. So torn about this, but again, all of the same people that came out against the game are, of course, now coming out against this television show, especially because it is directly involving J.K. Rowling is an executive producer on the show. She owns the IP, guys. Anything that's got anything to do with Harry Potter, they've got to go to J.K. Rowling and at least cut her a check. They can't just do whatever they want with the property.
Well, Warner Brothers owns the TV and film rights.
The rights, yes, but they still got to cut her a check. Like
I'm sure there's an agreement in place that she gets a kickback of everything that they do.
Everything right? That's got the Harry Potter name. There's a reason why she's one of the richest women in the world. She's one of the richest people in the world because of that agreement. Because again, unless if you were around, especially when the books came out, whether you read the books or not, the books were a phenomenon. When kids were starting to turn to screens, those books brought kids back to books. It was absolutely crazy how popular the books became. And then the movies, how popular the movies became until the MCU came along. The Harry Potter franchise was the highest grossing movie franchise of all time, up in the $7 or $8 billion, something ridiculous like that worldwide. So I'm curious from people that are on one side, like JS, who's maybe not a fan of the property, what you think. People that are kind of on the fence about it, that understand that she upset a lot of people with her hurtful words, but at the same time, she has created this piece of art that has touched and affected so many people globally in a positive way. And of course, the people that are like, no, cancel her, don't buy anything she's doing, don't watch, don't read, don't do anything, boycott, boycott, boycott. There's going to be a lot of this coming out now that this has been announced. Even if this show is 3 years away, it's going to be nothing but 3 years of that. So it's going to be a difficult time for all of it. It's going to divide the fan base. Divided the fan base basically since she's made these statements that she made online a couple of years ago now.
Okay, so can I stop you there for a second? Because
I know I'm just like blah, blah, blah. So
the fan base has already been divided, right? So it doesn't really matter anymore. That's the first thing. The people that hate her for what she said are always going to hate her. They're not going to change their mind if they, aren't buying anything that she's doing, and they're allowed to, right? That's okay. My thing is don't come and tell me what to do, right? I probably won't watch it because I'm not into Harry Potter. I don't give a shit about Harry Potter, right? So you're not going to tell me to watch it or not to watch it.
Right. So the question to
you know what I mean?
I do, but for someone like you, like going into this knowing that essentially it is a reboot with a full recast. So if you were going to get in on
Yeah.
the ground floor of Harry Potter, this would actually be a decent opportunity for you to do so.
Yeah.
Would you do it knowing that she is a controversial figure that has said things online that have been deemed transphobic and
Yeah.
hurtful? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, by the way. I'm not trying to get us canceled either. I was nervous
Yeah,
about
I
even
mean,
bringing this topic up.
I'll say this, okay? For me, if it comes out that it's amazing, I'm gonna watch it.
That's
Everybody's
fair.
like ranting and raving about it and how good it is, and it's the best thing on TV. And yeah, I'll probably watch it.
So I'm going to go through some of the comments because this is what we wanted. Our editor Megan saying, I don't want a remake of the books, leaving J.K. out of it. Even the movies were amazing and they're so tied to my childhood that I don't want to see them remade so quickly.
Well, that's the thing, right? So we are talking about a full remake,
Full
right?
recast, full remake.
Full recast, full
Yep.
retelling.
Yes.
Right? It's a retelling because let's be honest, it's not a remake of the movie, it's a different retelling of the books. And from my understanding of how they're doing this is they'll be basically doing a season per book. So you're going to have over
Probably
a period
even a
of
little
10
bit longer than
years.
that. Yeah, 10
No,
years,
over a
7
period
books.
of 10 years, you're going to have 7 seasons of this show that are going to probably be in the 7 to 10 episodes per season,
Right.
with a shit ton of money and special effects thrown at it, right? Where it's going to take a year or two to fund and film and edit and effects and, per season. They're going to Game of Thrones Harry Potter. I'm telling you right now.
No, I believe you.
They're
I get
Game
it.
of Throning Harry Potter. That's what they're doing.
Yes.
So that's what you're going to be getting, right? You're going to be getting one book per season. So they're going to be able to take what is a throwaway line or paragraph like The Last Voyage of the Demeter and make that into a story, into an episode.
Well, and to be fair, like in the books, there were a shit ton of subplots that were never explored in the movie. So they get a chance to explore the subplots now.
Right.
Megan Avery makes a good comment. How can you cast this? It would be so weird to see others portray such beloved characters. Yeah. 8 movies, guys. 8 movies with that cast. And now you're going to do a 10-year TV show with a whole different cast. Tana saying my take is people don't have to watch. I've seen that said.
Well,
absolutely.
100%. She's right too, right?
Groot saying, personally, I understand her words may have hurt people, but that's her personally. It does not take away from her art form. You can love the art, but not the person. Megan,
so I agree,
sorry.
but hang on. I just want to make a point here that, I mean, I have been so up in arms about people that I have not supported the product, right? But that was my own decision. Right. I wasn't going around telling people don't watch, don't buy, don't. No, I decided I was no longer going to support the product. Right.
Yep.
So
no, by all means, like it is anybody's personal choice if they're going to continue to appreciate the art while even lamenting the artist, or they're not going to do that anymore because of their issues with the artist and their words.
And that's fine.
Is everybody's personal choice, 100%.
Yes.
Megan is saying, so editor Megan is saying, if we need a Harry Potter universe TV show, then do it in the storyline. Do a we'll get to that in a second. Do a prequel of the Marauders or something, so we actually get a new story. So they tried that in the movies with Fantastic Beasts, and it bombed. So I think they want to go back to what they know is going to work. And what we're saying, here's the problem. If we need a Harry Potter as an IP is an extraordinarily profitable one that they're not just going to put on a shelf. It's not going to have something Harry Potter related is going to be explored by Warner Brothers Discovery. They've already said it's going to happen. So it's going to happen. They tried it with Fantastic Beasts. It did not work. They're going back to a well that they know is going to work. The books were wildly successful, as were the movies. They're going to try to replumb that. Will it work? Who knows? Like JS is saying, if they throw a shit ton of money at it and it's really good with amazing actors and performances and great storylines, it just might. We don't know.
Like if it's Star Trek Picard season 3, I'm in.
Yeah, that's exactly
right.
Plus, you can't get a better story from the one who created the story. It's that simple. Maybe they should talk to the OG Trek people, Meg.
Okay, so I wanna explain this because we had this discussion a little bit earlier. People often have a hard time dealing with change. And when I mean change, I mean when you grow up with something like Megan was saying earlier, right? She grew up with these movies. So when you grow up with something and then all of a sudden they rewrite it, they change it, it's no longer the story that you knew with the people that you knew. It's no longer your story. And people get protective of that,
Of
right?
course.
Because they're saying, well, all you're doing is you're bastardizing our story. I 100% agree with that because I'm the kind of person who will always prefer a continuation over a remake,
Right.
right?
Yep.
The perfect example that I was giving Jen earlier was Star Trek. Talk to the OG Star Trek fans. When Star Trek The Next Generation was announced, they were up in arms, dude. People were protesting at CBS with fucking signs.
Yep. They sure were.
Okay, because they were doing a new Star Trek The Next Generation. But then when The Next Generation came in, they realized that it wasn't a remake. It's they're adding to the story.
Right.
All of a sudden, it was perceived very differently. Now, it helped that the cast clicked so well for The Next Generation. It was lightning in a bottle, if you ask me. But people don't like change. So if you're retelling something, you're always going to have the people that are not going to want to watch. If you're remaking something, there's always going to be those people that are going to be upset.
Of course.
When you're taking the same world, the same universe that you've created, and you're telling different stories to add on to that story,
yep,
you're usually going to get a better reception from the fan base anyway.
Unfortunately, in this case, that's not what happened when they tried that. So that's why I think we're getting this. Because again, Warner Brothers is not going to leave such a lucrative intellectual property on the shelf. Here's the thing though, guys, and we can talk about like none of what we're saying right now has got anything to do with why this is controversial. It's controversial because of the involvement of J.K. Rowling. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's a retelling of a story that we've all seen and we already know. No one's up on the mountains planting their flag and battling over that. Nobody gives a shit about that. People are upset because J.K. Rowling is directly involved and will directly profit from this show. She's an executive producer. So, and I understand. I get it. If you're upset with this, don't watch it. The only thing I will say to anybody that's watching that is at a point where they want to boycott this and they want to plant that battle flag, just remember what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. Just remember what happened with that video game. It was already tried. That very, very vocal minority, mostly from the LGBTQ community, came out and said, boycott this game, don't play this game. And a lot of people went, what game? Oh, that looks cool. I'm going to buy that and play that and stream it. And it became a smash hit and the #1 streamed game at the time.
Yeah.
Just be careful. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. If you want to boycott all her stuff, that I think you should. If you go screaming about it on the internet, you're just drawing attention to it. And you're probably going to bring it to people that never even knew it existed before. And it's going to be another huge thing. And it's going to backfire. So I would just caution you on that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to render my opinion on this because I'm not going to get canceled or roasted on this. But
there's no such thing as bad publicity in business, right?
Right.
I mean, now I say that very well knowing, and seeing businesses being taken to their knees by usually a vocal minority, like you were saying earlier. But in a case like this, you're right. Like, screaming at the top of your lungs if you want, but then everybody's going to be like, oh, wait, what show?
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Right?
So it does have a chance to backfire. Absolutely. I see you, Megan Avery. I see you. And I know who you're thinking of with the young Snape. And if I see one more goddamn Adam Driver as young Snape, I'm going to lose my mind. Stop
it.
Good.
Don't get me wrong.
I don't even know how that guy's a Hollywood star. I don't.
What are you talking about? The guy's hilarious, man. The guy's
I don't
genius.
get Adam Driver. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think it's just me. I literally think it's just me. On planet Earth, there's one person that doesn't get it, and it's me. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Stop. If young Snape is Adam Driver, I'm out. I'm done. I'm gone. Sign me out.
I like Adam Driver.
You would.
I don't understand why people think he's so good looking. That I don't see.
Well, that's part of it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't see that at all.
You'll notice it's all girls in the chat that are freaking out over Adam Driver. It's not. So fans have been clamoring for this. So many internet castings. Yeah, that will be. It's like casting Bond, right? Like, how do you casting this is going to be an absolute friggin' nightmare, and people are going to be throwing names in the hats all over the place. But Adam Driver is awesome. Yes, every girl in this chat is talking about how great Adam Driver is. I don't understand, but I don't have to. That's okay. Love what you love, man. I'm not here to. I don't have to understand everything. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about today? Is there anything that you guys want to talk about in the land of geekdom? Anything that you guys have seen recently?
In 1, 2, and 3 weeks. What's happening in 3 weeks?
In 3 weeks.
What date is it going to be 3 weeks from now?
And get your fucking force on in London, Ontario, Canada at the May the 4th Be With You. May the 4th, Thursday, London Brewing Co-op, 521 Berwick Place, London, Ontario, Canada.
Can we?
Not as cool London.
Can we?
Yes. You want to spill the beans? Spill the beans. It's pretty much official at this point. It's pretty much official. So go ahead, spill the beans.
You want to do it?
No,
I mean, you were most.
Look how excited you are.
This was your thing. You made this happen, so I'll let you spill those beans.
We're getting a beer. We're getting a beer with our fucking labels on it. It's our logos.
Guys, there will be a Geeks & Co beer.
Yes, it is a honey lager, and it will be called May the Force Be With You. BEE. By the way, that's a Crazy Mike elaboration.
That was his suggestion.
That was his suggestion. If you don't know, guys, London Brewing Co-op is all about. It is a cooperative, so they make all decisions together, and everything they do and utilize is organic. So in this honey lager, they actually have in the neighborhood where the brewery exists an actual beekeeper that they get actual honey from directly, and that honey will then be used to make the honey lager.
Yeah,
it's going to have
local
our label on it. So if you come on May the 4th, 2023, Thursday, in 3 weeks' time, you can buy a Geeks & Company beer. I just sent the labels off to our friend Emma, who's helping us out at London Brewing Co-op. I'm not a beer drinker, but May the 4th, I will be. That's right, kids. So not only will there be cosplayers and photo opportunities and activities and lightsabers and backdrops and games and trivia, there's also going to be beer. So, and there's food there too, by the way, guys. So come on out to this event.
Guys, the beer that they're making this especially for this event and for us. Keep in mind, there is a portion of the profits of the beer that will be going to charity. Now, the charity that the London Brewing Co-op is working with for this is Dad Club of London, which works heavily with Ronald McDonald House, right? So the Dad Club of London is the actual charity, and they do events to raise money. They're going to be participating in this. And I believe everything that they're going to be making from this event is going to the Ronald McDonald House.
As far as I know it'll be London Brewing Co-op that's going to be there. But again, just so we're clear, Dad Club will be coming out to the event to help us with the event. Yep. We are also in contact with 98.1, which is the classic rock station here in London. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to see if we can get CFPL TV to come out and cover the event as well. So we're trying to get the word out, guys. Feel free to help us out. We'll be putting on our stories probably this week, trying to get some confirmed numbers especially for cosplayers that are going to be coming out in costumes so that we can put together some promotional material that's got specific cosplayers on it and let people know who's going to be there, who they can get the picture with, all that kind of good stuff. So if you plan on coming to the event, either reply to the stories that we're going to put out or just message either myself, JS, Geeks & Co., any of those, and let us know you're coming out. We'll make a master list. And by we mean producer Jen. We'll make a master list of who's coming out. And that way we can promote it accordingly and let everyone know who's going to be there in their dope ass cosplay. So, and by the way, guys, if you don't have a cosplay or you don't have a Star Wars cosplay, still come out.
Matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't have
play
to
the trivia. There's going to be a raffle. I'm donating my full-size Baby Yoda to the raffle. We're going to go. Mike and I are going out this weekend to hit some local comic shops to get some more stuff. And London Brewing Co-op is donating $200 worth of their merchandise to the raffle as well. So there's going to be raffles, there's going to be prizes, and again, proceeds are going to Dad Club of London. So Come on out to that event. It's going to be fantastic.
Should be a good time, and it's
Groot
another
says
reason.
41. You're off by one number, sir. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, is everything is 42, not 41. If you're keeping score at home, kids, it's 42. I don't know what the oops is for.
Okay.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. Clearly, JS has not read it.
I have not. I forget.
Groot will be there, and I'm hoping to get everything soon to make him special for May the 4th. Says Groot.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, he's planning on doing a Obi-Wan Grootobi.
Well, he's got to be fireproof.
Jedi.
Like, he's going to be a tree with a lightsaber. Like, I feel like that's a real easy win for anybody with a lightsaber, isn't it? Just like graze him.
I mean, if he's a Jedi, he's got
like...
Force, so who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows? He's a living tree for crying out loud.
He is. I'm just saying. I feel like that's a really quick fight. I'll be there as a Jedi as well. And I'm going to have a spare lightsaber. I'm going to bring out my Jedi robe. So even if you're not coming in costume, if you want to get a picture as a Jedi, you can throw a robe on, you can light a lightsaber, and you can whack a tree if you want to. It's going to be good, clean, wholesome. I would suggest hitting Crazy Mike. That would be wonderful if you give him a couple whacks. He needs that shit in his life. But we'll see what happens. There's going to be some drinking. Not gonna lie. There's a trivia at 7, but we're also going to be doing the podcast live from the venue at 7:00. So it's going to we'll be there at 3 at a brewery, and we're not podcasting till 7. Things are going to be a little spicy when we get onto the air at 7:00. So get ready for that. You might be seeing us in a little bit of a different light.
Yeah, and I don't know what we've got planned for that night, but I think it's
apparently we got whack a tree for charity. Says producer Jen.
Charity. There you go. Not with my lightsaber. What are you doing?
If the tree starts to wobble, cut me off. Weeble wobbles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Well, whack a foam tree, sure. I'm good with that.
Yes. Actually, we're going to have 20 cute inflatable lightsabers that are you can't hurt anybody with. So we're gonna have like 20 of those in case any kids come out.
We need to get little LED lights so we can throw on the inside of them and just go nuts outside in the parking lot.
We're such children. Hilarious.
So
come on out, guys. It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna have a good time. We're going to London just for this. So it's gonna be fantastic. I am refinishing a helmet. Oh, you can't really see it. It's too dark.
Revan. I can't wait. It's so dope. And by the way, for my locals, CK Expo, the Geeks & Co will not be there in force, but I will be there. I believe editor Megan is going to show up as well. I'll be hosting the cosplay contest. That is April 30th, the Saturday. One day only.
You got to make sure you pitch the podcast.
Chatham Kent. So they have a podcast panel that they've invited me to participate in. As long as it doesn't interfere with the hosting duties, I'm actually going to do that. So we'll talk. I'll be talking about the Geek Boutique for sure. So no question there. And just, the geeks in general. I've got a bunch of promo material that I got from the last time we were all together. So I'll be handing some of that out. But yeah, it's CK Expo. It's a great con. Good time. Cosplay contest is always fun and competitive. So make sure you're coming out for that if you're local to the area. I don't know, man. Are we done? I think we're done.
I think that's about it. I mean,
think that's good.
We don't have any actual other beans to spill this week, so
I think that's all the beans, kids.
Yeah, big beans.
I have a new cosplay that I started to feature on my stories today. You're welcome to take a look and guess. A whole bunch of people have guessed one that's wrong, but it's an interesting guess. Thus far, 2 people have guessed what it is that I'm going to be doing. So check out my story.
What's everybody guessing?
Everybody thinks I'm doing the Tick, which, by the way, would be funny.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. It is not the Tick, unfortunately, guys. But if you go check out my stories, Messiah Complex Cosplay on Instagram, you can see I have some headgear on, and you can guess what it is I'm going to be doing with that headgear. I won't spoil it. Just some dumb fun. Just some dumb fun.
Should I spoil it? Should I spoil it?
No,
folks?
I just said they have to guess, and you're going to tell them.
Do we want to spill more beans? Do we want to spill more beans?
Why are we doing
all right, fine. I think we'll cut it off here before I actually tell everybody what's going on here. Guys, if you're not following us here on YouTube, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. It really, really helps us out. It's 100% free. And if you click the notification bell, it'll always make sure you're notified anytime we go live or when we upload one of our videos, like our after shows. That's right. If you don't know, we have a Picard and a Mando after show next week. Final episodes for both. There'll be a little bit of a
Oh,
break until our next show.
Gonna be some
Yeah,
tears.
next week.
There's
Yeah,
gonna
there
be some
was
tears.
This,
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's not too many tears next week, but
No, I'm pretty sure.
check out those shows. There's a bunch more videos coming, guys. That's I think gonna be it for this
I
week.
think so, man.
Yeah, well, make sure you stay
Yeah.
geeky, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss an episode.